A boss mom doesn't allow society to tell her that her goals no longer matter. She handles her business both inside and outside of the home. Welcome to the Bawse Mom Movement Podcast with me, your host, Ashley White, where you'll hear me speak with millennial moms who have not allowed the title mom to stop them from achieving their goals. During this podcast series, we'll discuss how we balance it all and other mom-related topics. It's a space for all my bossy mamas, whether you're an entrepreneur, mama in corporate, or both. Being a boss mom isn't easy, but it's our lifestyle. So with that being said, all right, boss moms, let the movement begin. Hey moms, it's Ashley here from the Bawse Mom Movement, here to invite you to join me in the Bawse Mom Mastermind Group. This is a small group that I've created to help us as like-minded women and moms just accomplish our goals. We'll meet on a monthly basis, but you also have the opportunity to have a community at your fingertips as you'll be invited to a private sectioned off group where we'll just be able to discuss on a daily basis different goals that we have for the month and just keep each other motivated and accountable. In addition to that, you will receive a special discount on merchandise and upcoming events. So like I said, join the Bawse Mom Mastermind Group. The link is in my bio. And let's just build this community and check off these goals and keep each other accountable. So I hope to see you ladies there. Hey Boss Moms, welcome back for another episode of the Bawse Mom Movement. You are here for season 4. And today's topic is getting real about modern luxury real estate with Nikki Burnett, my special guest. She is a serial entrepreneur, also a momager to her son, and she is really just doing the thing when it comes to real estate. And I really just wanted to chat with her today about her overall experience as an entrepreneur, also brand ambassador. So I want to turn the mic over to Nikki to introduce herself to the audience. Who is Nikki B?
Well, thanks for the introduction. My name is Nikki Burnett, better known as Nikki B. I am a real estate investor, entrepreneur, Airbnb specialist, the author of the Airbnb Playbook. I am also a momager to my son, Nikki Burnett, who is a gold medalist, McDonald's All-American, and University of Alabama student athlete. I'm a very proud basketball mom, and I have been forever. We had a show on Lifetime back in 2017. We had season 1, and the name of the show was Bringing Up Ballers. And it my life and 5 other women in Chicago that were entrepreneurs and that had kids that had aspirations of making it to the NBA. So we are almost there, and we know great things takes time. So we're getting there, and that was basically the start of for the world to know who we were. Mm-hmm. But in addition to being a basketball mom, a momager, I am also a brand ambassador. I am a brand ambassador for CEO Chicks, which is a community of women. We specialize in branding and marketing and collaborating, creating, and dominating. So that's
love
me
it.
In a nutshell.
I love it. First of all, kudos to you and your son, and just, stand down with him and watching him, preparing him for this next chapter that he will go into. I think that is amazing, especially as a young boy mom myself. Like, I'm super excited of just raising him, and hopefully he's into sports. I'm not going to force him if he's not, but me and his dad are definitely having our fingers crossed for basketball. He's tall already, so I'm like, yeah, you need to be on somebody's court. But along with all the other accolades that you've shared in building your brand and your business and helping by being a brand ambassador, I think that is amazing. So I want to start with your journey into real estate investment and building your business. Like, what made you want to start getting into real estate?
So I got my license in 2005, many, many moons ago. And what prompted me to get my real estate license is that my husband was a general contractor at that time. And we started to get our foot wet in flipping property. So we would go in, find the REOs, the short sales, the foreclosures, and buy property and then invest, several thousands of dollars and flip them. And I started to notice that when we would go to the closing, that the particular realtor that we were working with was cashing out. And I'm like, oh my God, look at how much money she's making. Not so much on the purchase, but the sale, because of course the house was worth more money. And it was, I just had an epiphany and I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get my license. I was 25 at the time. I went and got my real estate license, and I was mentored by a lady by the name of Dolores Richmond in Chicago. And she took me under her wing. She taught me everything that I needed to know. And then I became the listing agent for all of our properties. In addition, helping first-time homeowners and just really, putting myself out there. And the second year in real estate, I was one of the top salespersons in my office. So that prompted me to really get started and get a piece of the pie. I'm like, there's no way I can be allowing money to go out the household when this is our work. And that prompted me to do that. And it's the reason why I'm still in real estate to this day.
That is amazing. I am like, first of all, me and my boyfriend were just talking about how much goes into selling anything to anyone. So let alone selling a house and just all the knowledge that you have to have about the home, about the area, to really, get somebody to spend all of that money, because buying a home or any piece of property really is an investment, and like you said, thousands and thousands of dollars go into it. And so just thinking from a customer standpoint, really having a good realtor that they can trust is definitely something that people don't take for granted. So I commend you for, seeing the goal and obtaining it and just being in the industry years later. That's amazing. I personally want to get into real estate investing. So I was very intrigued by just reading your story, how you're doing it through the Airbnb business, which is something I'm interested in as well. So tell us how that has been going. I think I read that you're not buying the homes for Airbnb, or are you actually buying them?
So, real estate has changed, right? So everything that was going on when I got my license in 2005, not necessarily is going on now. People are still flipping and buying. People are still buying multi-unit properties where they'll make some money and then build equity. And then in the, 5 to 10 year period, they'll sell it and make a huge profit. Well, the short-term rental industry, which is Airbnb and Vrbo, it has changed the game. It is a thing. And I personally read a book that changed my life, where it showed me how to get into the short-term rentals without owning property. So I currently own 10 properties in Chicago, about 9 to 10 properties. I just sold one in Chicago, but we have long-term tenants. So we have the Section 8 tenants. We have the tenants that's been with us for years, and they pay the mortgage, and then we make, a nice amount of money after all the bills are paid. Well, the short-term rental industry has changed, because now you're making money up front. And the old way of doing it, you're making more money on the back end once you're ready to sell or once you're ready to refinance. Well, Airbnb, you're making an extra few $1,000s a month. So I learned the formula on how you can tap into the business doing what you call rental arbitrage. Okay, I had an aha moment. I was like, I've been in real estate for so long, and I didn't know that I can get into this business without property. It was a no-brainer to me.
Right. So now, is that something you share in your book?
Oh, yeah. So the ebook is a free download, 28 pages, full of vital free information that just gives a clear description of what rental arbitrage is, how to get involved, and what to do. So it's like a starting point on, someone who may not know, like I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's several ways to get into Airbnb, but the easiest way is to get in through rental arbitrage, which is another fancy word for subletting. You're basically subletting your house or apartment, condo, or what have you to travelers that's paying you on the daily to rent your property. And once you pay your rent and your expenses, you're generally netting anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 per month per property.
Oh, wow. I've actually heard of that before. I've heard of it recently just because I was interested or am interested in getting in the business. And I'm like, okay, how do I do this without a lot of money? Because I'm not sitting on thousands of dollars where I can, invest right now. And that is something that I came across, and I was just like, this is pretty interesting. And I was like, I just get so nervous. Like, how do you build those relationships? Because I know, a lot of times owners, they are not really open to having their homes, in the short term rental for Airbnb out of fear of, getting the home being messed up. And so what is it like building those relationships for your short-term rentals?
Well, everyone does it differently. So for me, when I look into doing Airbnb, I do not look at apartments. I do not look at condos. Okay. My focus are short-term rentals, single family. And the reason is because if you have different owners or landlords in a multi-unit building, then your chances increase of having some issues. Okay. From the noise to complaints. So for me, building a relationship is like, listen, I am looking to, all of my properties are pretty much located in 2 states, Alabama and Texas, which is places that my son went to school. So I go in and I let the property manager know that I am going to be here, half of the month. And during the remaining month, I will be renting it out. So I make that clear. And then I also review the lease to make sure there's nothing in the lease that says that I can't sublet. And you're surprised that a lot of leases don't include that terminology, because if you can't pay the rent, they just want to make sure the rent is being paid. That's true. So having a nervous feeling entering the industry is kind of the wrong way to go into it. You want to be honest. You want to be open. But not what you do is how you do it. So you just can't go in and say, hey, I'm going to be listing your property and I'm going to have it on Airbnb and Vrbo. Like, no, you can't do that. And you have to be very strategic on how you list it, the type of guests that you attract, paying it. And again, a lot of people out here are teaching the game, but I have never invested in a condo or an apartment because I know that will cause issues.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely good information to know. And I feel like you definitely have to, like you said, be honest, because I think that's another downfall that some people, they just go into it and they're like, trying to make the person believe like they're going to be there full time and there will be, no one else in the home. But I can definitely see that. So I guess for someone, is there any specific advice for someone getting into the industry that maybe is not going to get their real estate license if they're just simply, looking to invest in real estate but not become a realtor, like me?
Yeah, well, being a realtor for me, I didn't hear the last part.
Oh no, I just said like me because I have no interest in getting my license, but I am interested in the industry.
I totally understand. I had my real estate license in Chicago for 17 years. I am now studying for my real estate license in Nevada, which is where I live. And it's only to be able to purchase my own properties and have access to the MLS. I am not looking to be a realtor and run with buyers and sellers because I did that in my earlier part of life.
Yeah.
I did. However, being a realtor has its advantages because you don't have to wait on anybody to send you listings. You're doing your own thing. But it is definitely not necessary to get into the short-term rental industry. And like I said, that is a thing now. If you're looking to make some income and quit your job, Airbnb is what you want to do because it can supplement your income. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, $1,000 to $2,000, depending on the area, keyword, depending on the area, how much money you're making, it can be accomplished. You can make $1,000 to $2,000 per property. So you have 3, 4, 5 properties, you do the math. That's $10,000 to, $12,000, $13,000 a month, and it can supplement your income. However, if you're looking to do what I do in Chicago, where in the next 10 years, I'm going to have some equity in all of my properties, but that's long term. And that's why it's called short-term rental. You're making the money in the short term. So that's the difference. And having a real estate license, again, is not necessary.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to make sure my mom listens to this because I have been trying to twist her arm about doing the short term. I also read something about corporate, I think it's like corporate leases or something to that nature. Is that it? Could you share some insight with us on how corporate leases work? I don't know if you've had experience dealing with those.
I do. So corporate leases is, so short-term leases work like this. You need to have either LLC, I wouldn't suggest a sole proprietorship, or have your business incorporated. And that's when you basically go in. Generally, this is for multi-units. And you say, hey, I want to lease 2 to 4 of your apartments, and I want to be able to offer to my clients, to different, guests that I have that will be staying at my property. That's pretty much how the corporate leases work. You do have to have your business formed as an entity to be able to do a corporate lease.
Gotcha.
Now,
okay.
Some landlords and property managers may frown upon corporate leases because now they're really thinking you're going to have my property on Airbnb and Vrbo. So it can work either way. I personally have personal leases with all of my properties, and I've run into issues here and there, but nothing where it couldn't sustain itself. It could make money.
So personal under your name and not under your
under my business
name, right?
Right.
Okay.
Both ways, but I can speak on what has worked for me. And when I first started the business, everything went under my name, which is still that way, and it's been working. So I do what works. I do what I see, makes sense. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So I always wondered about that because I rent, but I was also thinking about, getting into the business and renting other properties. And I'm like, is that frowned upon to have, all of these under your own name, which is why I consider the corporate leases, because I do have a business formulated. I just haven't done anything with it yet for the real estate. But I was just thinking, okay, is it better go in the direction of the business, or is it okay, having it under your own personal? But I guess as long as your personal is clean, right?
Both works. I've only had experience in leasing properties under my own personal name. I'm going in, I'm renting this house out. A lot of times, depending on who owns the property, when you're dealing with property managers, you're not having that conversation as to who's living in the house. You're basically submitting an application, getting approved, and getting the keys. The conversation with the landlord is going to be different. Hey, who's staying in the house? How many kids do you have? Those are totally different situations. So if I can say, if you want to focus on trying to find a property management owned company, that would probably be the way to go, opposed to dealing with a landlord that's going to be asking a million questions and all up in your business.
Right. No, that is absolutely true. And that's just from my personal experience with my own home, which I never knew, because I've always rented apartments, that they drill so much onto that. I'm like, is that like personal, but I get it because you don't own the property and they just want to know. Or, I mean, maybe sometimes they are being nosy, but I think in most cases they're just trying to protect, their investment, which is their home. So I totally get it.
Yeah. I just want to state this. My rule of thumb is deal with the companies that have property managers. Deal with the companies that have maintenance on site, not a landlord that says, oh, let me call somebody. No, the property management owned companies, they tend to do things way more professional. And like I said, I've run into little small issues, but nothing where I wasn't able to maintain the property and they couldn't stay on Airbnb and Vrbo.
Okay. That's definitely a good note. I never even thought about that. And
yeah.
I don't even think I really knew that a lot of places like outside of like apartments really had like property managers. I kind of just realized that, and maybe it's just because I've always lived in apartments that have always been managed by a company, but that's definitely a good note to add.
Yeah.
So as far as your luxury real estate business, I know like I've been hearing, and I don't know if it's because I've just been watching all of these like shows that deal with real estate, but just about the luxury industry in general. Like, how long have you been in luxury real estate?
I've been in luxury real estate for probably the last 10 years. And when I was an active realtor in Chicago, I decided that I was tired of running around with first-time home buyers that couldn't make up their mind, that had spouses that didn't agree with what they wanted, and, showing 15 to 20 houses. I was burned out. So I tapped into the luxury downtown market, and those properties paid like really well. So I would show properties that would be anywhere from like $4,000 to $8,000 a month. And then the commission would be equal to the rental amount. So if I'm renting 2 to 3 apartments out per month at $4,000, I'm making $12,000. And for me, I always want to do something that I enjoy. So I enjoy luxury. I enjoy seeing the marble and, the floor to ceiling windows and things that inspire me. So when I started showing those properties, I kind of made it like my niche. And those were the type of clients that I attracted. And then once I moved to the West Coast and got back into real estate, I decided to name my company Modern Luxury, and all of my listings, as far as Airbnb, are considered modern. Everything has stainless appliances, granite countertops. I want to provide that experience for guests to feel like they're living in luxury for a day or a week or a month.
Right. No, I like that. And it's definitely, even though I'm not in a realtor myself, but just thinking like you do in anything you do, you have to find your niche, you have to find, your target focus area. So I think that that's amazing. And you look great tonight. So I know you like kill your looks, and you look as great as the home does. So I'm sure the business is going great for you. What is what's the biggest difference that you've seen in the market dealing with, regular real estate versus the luxury? Because I feel like a lot of people now, and I don't know if it's just people that I'm around, are wanting to go into this luxury industry.
Well, thanks for the compliment. One thing I did learn when I first got my real estate license is you have to attract. You have to attract what you want to sell. You have to look like money to make money. One of the first things the broker that I work for taught me is you have to have a clean car. You have to show up. We didn't have social media back then, so you really had to sell. There was no one that could just find you on Instagram or Facebook and say, hey, I want you to represent me. Like, you had to walk in heels every day and in suits and, really look the part. So it's very important. And it's always, it's brought me this far to always look the part, and that will bring business to you as well. But a lot has changed with real estate, but the thing that has changed, the thing that has stayed the same is you can make a lot of money in real estate. A whole lot of money. You have to know what to do and how to do it. You have to get with a trusted mentor, advisor, coach, or someone that can say, hey, this is the way to go. So as I mentioned before, my properties that I've owned for over 15 years now, they're making money, but they're not bringing in the income like the short-term rentals.
Right.
But future, they will. So when you're getting into the business, you have to decide, do I want to make some money right now? Or do I want to set my son up for, future success where I buy this property now in the next 5 to 10 years, I've made a good 80 to 90,000. It just depends. So the market has changed. Airbnb has interrupted the hospitality industry. For me, when I travel with a group, it's an Airbnb all day. We're not doing hotels. We're not spending $300-400 a night to stay in a room when we can have a house and have a kitchen where we don't have to eat out every day.
Right.
So that's the difference. The short-term rental has changed real estate, but real estate is and always has been evolving.
I'm glad you just said a lot that I actually kind of want to start touching on. So I want to start with the social media aspect. How do you feel like that has changed, and whether it be, positive or negative for the industry? Because you're right. I feel like I see a lot of agents now. I mean, granted, we see a lot more now on social media anyway, but I feel like, I'm starting to see a lot of more pages pop up. I'm getting a lot more follows from agents. And then I'm also just seeing more agents, in my eyes anyway, than I have before. So how do you feel like social media has impacted the industry?
I feel social media has impacted the industry in a very positive way. Like when it comes to me searching for a realtor, I don't have to go to Google. I can go right to Instagram and hashtag Houston Realtors, Dallas Realtors. And one of the advantages that I offer my clients when they sign up for my one-on-one coaching is that I pair them with a realtor in their area, wherever it is that they want to find their property. I pair them with someone that can help them, that knows exactly what they want. They understand the assignment.
Right.
I think it's an advantage, especially for realtors who want to market themselves. Back in the day, we literally used to have to go out, and the objective was to pass out 20 business cards to strangers every single day.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. We would go to mortgage companies. We would go out for lunch, Panera Bread, you name it. And that was just a tactic to get buyers or sellers. And not everyone you're meeting at the grocery store or whatever is buy property. But now a person can search you and find you and say, hey, I like her look, or I like, what she posts. I like the houses that she posts. I like what she's saying. So social media has been an open door, especially to realtors that are either getting started or have been in the business. It makes it easier to get clients.
Okay. It's interesting, that you say that. I definitely agree as far as, the branding and, putting you more on the map probably, and coming across people that you probably wouldn't have come across, especially on foot versus, like you said, a simple hashtag. And one thing I was just speaking with my boyfriend the other day, I'm like, we're seeing more agents. I just hope, their skill set also matches what they put on there. Because like I said, like selling a home, like you were in the industry when there was no social media. So you understand, like, the importance of building those relationships and really having that, the ability to sell. Like, I know I'm not the best seller. Like, that's why I've never gone into sales. But I do understand, because my boyfriend, he works in sales, and I always tell him, like, honey, you can sell socks to a bear, like he can do it. And I definitely feel like it's a niche, right? But it's crazy how, like you said, the industry has changed, and things do kind of make it a little bit more easy, I guess, to become noticed, right, in the industry. But I always just wondered that. I'm like, I wonder how realtors who have been in the game for some time versus like maybe new realtors that are coming into it, you didn't have the social media, and now there's social media. Like, I don't know. I think social media, it's positive, but sometimes it's negative too. But I think for your industry, I definitely agree. Like, just seeing a lot more, and I feel like even me, as a hope to be a customer one day for someone to buy my own home, but it's given me more insight to the industry, and just seeing what is all out there, but then also what it takes to even get a home. I wanted to touch on how you just said, like, how the industry has just changed so much. So do you foresee, like, with I keep seeing articles about how homes are super high right now, and it's taking a lot to build homes. Like, as far as this trajectory is concerned, do you feel like that is kind of negatively impacting realtors and the business itself, just being able to sell these homes, especially if you're in luxury real estate, which I know that's not cheap?
So when Fat Joe, I believe, said yesterday's price is not today's price, that's where we are. Nothing costs what it used to cost, from the price of homes, cars, hair, makeup.
That's true.
Everything is inflated. So we are now in a market where I have quite a few clients that are selling their property and getting over the asking price. The demand is high. It's a seller's market. So is it negatively affecting the market? Absolutely not for the seller. Now, for the buyer, it's like, oh my God, where do I get in? How can I get in where I fit in? How can I afford this house? Well, we got to make more money. That's how I think about it. I don't cry over spilled milk. If the price of this house now, especially on the West Coast and Vegas, especially, things used to be so much cheaper. And I'm like, I can't believe that there is not a house that I want to buy under $1 million. There's not anything under $1 million. And that's crazy to me because it hasn't always been like that. But it is what it is. So I think it's a thing where we have to change with the times.
Right.
Think about it. If you're spending, let's just say $2,000 per month on renting something, that's about what you would pay for a $400,000 house or a condo. So you have to look at it, from a totally different view and know that it's still possible. There are ton of programs out here for first-time home buyers, down payment assistant type of programs. It's possible. The dream is still alive. You just have to get with the right people. Again, it's about your circle. It's about people who have access to these programs, who knows what bank is doing this and doing that. So the market is what it is, and I don't see it changing in the next few years. But then we may have another situation where we have a recession because everything is inflated.
Right.
So in the next 3 to 4 years, I hear that it's being reported that we may, have another recession where things kind of go backwards, and then it'll be a buyer's market. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Right. Well, that's comforting to know, like, because I live in Atlanta. So I'm looking around like, wow, this is what we have to choose from, because we are getting, ready to wanting to buy. And I'm just like, but like you said, I mean, rent is so high because that's also going up as well. Because people need to, make their payments and whatever else that may be going on where they feel like they need to raise the rent for their home. But, like you said, I've seen, Zillow, I get the little Zillow emails and just looking at like the little estimate for a $700,000 home and up, because that's literally all I see nowadays. It definitely almost equates to even what I pay in rent, which is crazy. But
that's exactly what I'm saying. So when you look at it like that, I would rather pour money into a place that I own opposed to giving the landlord $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And if you want to live a certain way, that's what you're going to be paying.
Right. No, that is absolutely true. So I want to kind of like divert the conversation a little bit. I know you've built your company and you've also been very involved in your son's life. So how was that? I'm not exactly sure, how old your son was when you started your business, but how was that balancing being full-time mom, full-time entrepreneur?
Well, I got my license when I was 25 and he was about 4 years old at that time. And that's about the time where I was like, I'm not going to be sitting around figuring out who am I. I gotta get back to the old me. But it took 4 years. So for women that's listening to what we have to say, give it time. Give it time to be that mom. Give it time to be that stay-at-home mom. That was a battle for me because I've worked since I was 14 years old. I didn't know how to be still and be at home and be a mom and a wife at such an age. It was like a lot on me, but slowly I got back into myself and I just learned to balance. I also had another company when he was younger. It was called Basketball Mom and Hoop Life. So what I would do is I would do pop-up shops at various basketball tournaments that he would be playing in. So he would be playing in the gym and I would be right outside the doors selling my t-shirts and my hoodies and my knee pads and all of the things that I offer for the kids and the basketball moms. So I've always incorporated whatever he was doing into my life and trying to make it make sense and make some money, most importantly.
Right.
And even now, with him being 20 years old, I am not as hands-on, and I'm grateful for that because, we sacrifice so much. And yes, we have to be mom, but we have to put ourselves first. So when I moved from Chicago in 2017, 5 years ago, I took a break. And I was just like, I'm going to be full force. And he was attending a prep school and traveled literally every week. So I took like a 3-4 year break where I just allowed my properties to generate an income for me. And I wasn't actively, selling real estate or anything like that. And I needed that break because that was the time he needed me most. I'm one of those moms. My kid ain't going out of town without me. From AAU to prep school, nobody take care of him like his mom and daddy, and we were hands on.
Right.
So took that break. So when it comes to balancing, we have to put ourselves first, but then we have to figure out a way, especially as entrepreneurs, we have that ability to make it work where you can still kind of be there and do whatever you need to do. So balance is important, but you got to do, whatever God puts on your heart and your desires. And if you don't, then you will regret it. And then you'll be looking at your kid like, I gave all this up, all of my dreams. And I'll be that person.
Right. No, I completely understand that. And that is one of the reasons why I even started the Bawse Mom Movement platform, is just not losing self. Like, obviously, I want to be an amazing mother. I want to be here, for all of his joys and his lows. And I appreciate being able to work remotely from home, because that is something that has also changed a lot within the corporate world, because that was like not a thing years ago. But it's definitely given me the opportunity to be a lot more hands-on with him and still have a job that understands I'm a mom as well as an employee.
First.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy that I even work for a company like that, because that is also something new, just for corporations to even recognize that, women, we can get the job done, but you have to understand we're also mothers and we have to do our motherly duties, first. And you have to understand that. So I think that's one thing for me anyways, that I just go back and forth with. When it comes to taking on entrepreneurship full time versus working my 9 to 5, and now just even balancing both of them. But definitely, I just, really listen to what you just said, and just even knowing like it's okay sometimes to take a break, whether it's from your own thing or, stepping out of corporate and say, hey, I need to take some time so I can focus on my child or my children. It is definitely just reassurance and a reminder. What is the biggest piece of advice that you can share for entrepreneurs wanting to build their business off the ground as a woman, especially in the industry that you're in, like when it comes to investors and dealing, because it's a lot of males in that industry. So entrepreneur advice, but then also what is some advice that you can share for a mom who is struggling balancing entrepreneur life and being a mom?
Well, I want to first start with women like you that have a 9 to 5 that is tapping into their entrepreneurial journey and becoming a mom. So that's 3 positions in one, right?
Right.
So I think that it's very important to learn and build from everything that you're experiencing when it comes to the 9 to 5, because you're taught being punctual, being on time. You're taught systems. So, take all that in and take in all of that guaranteed money, all of that. I'm getting paid the 1st and the 15th. I'm getting paid every 2. Take that and run with it. Take that and save it, and take everything that you learn and put that into your business. Don't go out there and jump out and say, oh, I want to just be an entrepreneur. You don't have any money saved. You don't have any skills. You don't know Excel. You don't know this. You don't know that. Listen, build on that. It's a reason why you're there. So learn as much as you can. Take in all of that and apply it to your business. That will make you more successful, first and foremost. For the people that's like me, that don't have a 9-to-5 to depend on, have to pay my own health insurance and have to figure it out, be ready. Before you jump out on a limb, be ready to know that opposed to that 8 hours that you may put in that 9-to-5, be ready to work 16 hours. Be ready to get up at 6 a.m. before your 10 a.m. meeting or interview or whatever you got going on, because you have to get things done. So as an entrepreneur, we make it look glamorous and make it look like it's just a piece of cake, but we even have to work even harder. But I'm at the point where I'm working smarter. Like I'm still, putting in a lot of time, but I'm learning to delegate. I'm learning to build a team of competent people that can help me do the things that I couldn't necessarily do. So for entrepreneurs, you have to balance. And then for moms, you have to balance as well. And then you have to know when enough is enough, because kids come first. Family is first and foremost. Right. But get some balance, get a nanny, get a babysitter, get some people that can help you so that you can still become the woman and the entrepreneur that you want to be.
Absolutely. I appreciate your words tonight, just about the industry, and just as a mom who has built her brand and supported your son up until this point, as you'll continue to do. So I'm so happy that you were able to join the Bawse Mom podcast this evening. So if you could just share with the audience how they can find you, anything you're attached to, like your the company that you're brand ambassador, your book, and anything else you want to leave us with.
Absolutely. Again, my Nikki Burnett, better known as Nikki B. And my Instagram is Nikki B, the brand. My book is the Airbnb Playbook. I can be found also on Facebook, Nikki Burnett. And other than that, I'm not on Twitter much. So yeah, find me on Instagram. And my website address is the same as my Instagram, nikkibthebrand.com. And also CEO Chicks, that is our Instagram, and our website is also www.ceochicks.com.
Awesome. Well, ladies, you know how to find Mrs. Nikki B. So we appreciate you for tuning in this evening. I hope you learned some gems. And as I always say, stay bossy and stay motivated. And until next time, I'll see you ladies. Have a great day.
Hey ladies, if you enjoyed today's episode, do me a favor and leave a 5-star rating and review. You can find the Bawse Mom Movement streaming on Apple and Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Want to keep up with the movement? Visit my website at thebawsemommovement.com and subscribe. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you next time.